So we're going to get started. Again, welcome. Thank you to everybody who is joining and listening into this information session, either now live or watching the recording back later. It's really great to have you here and have your interest for this exciting new initiative that is being launched by the New Jersey Institute for Social Justice. For those of you who don't know, my name is Asada Mann. I'm the community organizing manager at the Institute for Social Justice. A little bit of background information about us. The Institute is a nonprofit racial and social justice advocacy organization. We were founded in 1999 by civil rights activists and visionary leaders, Amy and Alan B. Lowenstein. And since then, the Institute is known and has been working on racial justice advocacy that seeks to empower people of color by building systems that are reparative and that generate wealth, transform justice, and allow communities to harness their democratic power from the ground up to drive change across the state of New Jersey. And I am really excited to be joined by some of my colleagues here at the Institute tonight. So I'm going to invite each of one of them to just introduce themselves and share a little bit about the work that they do here. First, we have Jean-Pierre Brutus.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Jean-Pierre Brutus. You can call me Jean-Pierre or JP. I'm a senior counsel at the Institute in our economic justice program. I lead the Institute's reparations advocacy and manage it as well. I'm also the convener of the New Jersey Reparations Council. It's really good to be here with all of you. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thank you. And next, we have Wendy Liz.
Hi, everyone. I'm Wendy Liz. I'm the Research and Digital Media Associate at the Institute, and my main role there is to take our recent reparations report, and we are transforming it into a digital exhibit. And I'm also excited to be here tonight.
Okay, great. And last but not least, we have Stephanie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie. I am a Communications and Digital Media Associate here at the Institute. I primarily work on our social media and video production, and I'm also very excited for everyone to be here and excited that you're interested in participating in this contest.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you all so much for introducing yourself. We have a packed but tight agenda for you all today. First, we're going to be hearing from Jean-Pierre, who's going to give a presentation and really an introductory lesson on what reparations are, why they're important, why they're needed, and how we understand the work of truth and repair that's needed to be done in this moment. And then after that, we will hear from Wendy, Liz, and Stephanie, who are going to give an overview of everything you need to know about the video contest, how to participate, how to get inspiration, how to get started. And then we'll open up the floor for any questions that you might have, and we'll wrap up with some key reminders and next steps. So with that said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and hand the mic over to Jean-Pierre.
Thanks so much, Asada. I appreciate it. And I'm going to start off with also sharing my screen as well, and we'll get started with the presentation and discussion. So just give me 1 second. Can you all see my screen? Wonderful. So in June of this past year, 2025, actually almost a year now, the Institute convened the New Jersey Reparations Council and released our report for such a time as this, the Nowness of Reparations for Black People in New Jersey. We first convened the New Jersey Reparations Council actually in June of 2023, almost 3 years ago. And the purpose of this report and the council was to make the case for reparations here in the state of New Jersey, and to establish and to tell the public that New Jersey has been called the slave state of the North, and that we can draw a direct line between slavery in New Jersey and the racial inequalities and equities that we see in the state here today, right? And so as part of that work, we convened around 55 folks who engaged in studying, thinking about, discussing slavery in New Jersey, Jim Crow in New Jersey, as well as their impact on present day racial inequalities. So what I'll do is just briefly in this brief time I have, I'll go over a little bit about the creation of the council, what's in the report, and then the work that we're doing now post-report to make it a reality as part of our Truth and Repair campaign. So prior to the convening of the council, the Institute had been the lead in organizing a coalition that was designed to help try to advance legislation that would establish a state task force in New Jersey to study the issue of reparations. We tried to get it passed. We tried to get a hearing, could not get a hearing. We had leaders in the state ask our president and CEO, Ryan Haygood, why would we focus on the term reparations? Why not call it something else? Why not call it a racial wealth gap task force or a racial disparity task force, or even better yet, a Black Lives Matter task force, anything but reparations? And so we decided to focus our campaign on saying the word. We wanted to normalize, socialize the word reparations and the concept itself. The state failed to move, failed to do anything, while other states like California, New York, and many other places around the country passed task forces. Rather than wait for New Jersey to do the right thing, with very generous support from Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, in June of 2023, in Perth Amboy, a major site for the trafficking of enslaved people in New Jersey, we launched the New Jersey Reparations Council. This is a photo from that day where there was a tremendous amount of energy and excitement about the council itself. From that time, from June 2023 to June 2025, the council, which was made up of 55 experts, including scholars, leaders of ASCII organizations here in the state, as well as community members, worked and engaged with the public as part of 9 sessions, which we called basically public dialogues or public sessions, in which these committees presented to the public their work to date, and then the public gave feedback on their thoughts on reparations within that particular area. After getting the information from the public that informed the work of each of the committees, who wrote analysis and chapters about slavery in their particular areas and their impact on the present, and we put together this report in such a time as this. And as part of the introduction of that work, one of the key things I want to highlight in this presentation is what are reparations? Repairing the harms of a particular issue or area or injury to a group of people is really a sort of the generic understanding of reparations. But here in the context of repair for slavery and its aftermath, I want you all to think about reparations not as a single act or as a single policy, but as a process of repairing the vast harms of slavery, as something that is equal and commensurate to the vast harms of slavery, and as something about building a new New Jersey, a New Jersey where Black people can thrive, where Black people can flourish, where Black people can be generally free. And as we've seen from history in the country and here in the US, when Black people are free, everyone becomes free. And so one of the things I wanted you to focus on is that when folks tend to hear the term reparations, right, it's kind of just the cash narrative, right, that reparations are just about cash or direct payments. Reparations comes in many forms, and according to the UN and international standards, there are 5 forms in the ways that reparations comes. Compensation or direct payments is only one of those. The ones that I really want you to focus on is cessation and guarantee of non-repetition. The idea that the practices and the policies that are reproducing the harms of slavery, reproducing the harms of Jim Crow, that create and reproduce the harms that we see now in the present moment need to stop. And we need new policies, new practices, new laws that ensure that Black people can thrive and be free. And this is incredibly important because it's structural change, it's systemic change, this is transformation, right? And this is what is required as part of repair. Yes, direct payments are important. But that's part of a comprehensive package, comprehensive repair, full repair. And so I want you to think of reparations as the process and not just a single entity. It's a process that gets us to the other side, to the future. And so also, as you think about your videos, take a look at the cover of the report. It's a Sankofa symbol. It's a symbol that means to go back and get it, to look to those who came before us, the past. as we think about our present, to as we think about how do we embrace the future, and imagine a future in which Black people can thrive and be free. As part of this report and taking up that call to look back to the past and to draw inspiration from those who came before us, we talk about reparationists and leaders like Callie House and Queen Mother Moore, who we discussed in the introduction. One of our awards is named after Callie House, who organized one of the largest movements of formerly enslaved people and Black people in this country, demanding reparations for those who were enslaved here in the U.S. as part of to get pensions for those people who were retiring at a retirement age and yet had never been paid for their work. And Queen Mother Moore is the mother of the modern national reparations. As I said before, this is a national movement. This is around the country. If you're interested, you can take a look at what California is doing. I've seen Illinois. You can even take a look at the PBS documentary, The Big Payback, and that's a trailer for that. Now on to the council and on to some of the history of New Jersey, the truth, right? As part of our work, as part of our Truth and Repair campaign, we want to tell the truth about New Jersey. New Jersey sort of benefits from this halo of progressivism in which it's not seen as being involved in slavery or being involved in racial inequality. And 52% of people in this state, I'll say that again, 52% of people in this state do not know that slavery happened in New Jersey. So just as a baseline, there's a tremendous amount of ignorance about the impact of slavery and its effect on New Jersey. New Jersey's role with slavery was so deep, it's been called the slave state of the North. And so as part of the truth of this work, we want to expose that history, we want to reveal it and its impact on the racial wealth gap in New Jersey, as well as other forms of inequality, like the disproportionate amount of Black people who are killed by police, who are incarcerated, the maternal mortality gap, the infant mortality gap, as well as life chances, like people's life expectancy, and other indices of racial inequality. As I said before, New Jersey has been called the slave state of the North. By 1830, all of the enslaved population in the northern states, 2/3 of them resided in New Jersey. New Jersey had slave codes that are very similar to Southern slave codes. They're extremely violent and punitive, including preventing Black people from congregating at night without supervision of their enslaver, excuse me. Also, New Jersey was the only northern state not to support Abraham Lincoln in terms of the popular vote in either elections that he won. And New Jersey only adopted the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery in this country after it had been ratified by the U.S. Congress, and that was in 1866. In 1806, New Jersey did something that people think that is not possible to do today, and that's to pay reparations. People talk about the impossibility of paying reparations in this moment, that is too long ago. Well, in 1806 to 1811, the state of New Jersey paid reparations to enslavers, not to the enslaved. I'll say that again. The state of New Jersey paid reparations to enslavers. The value of enslaved labor was so valuable that it almost bankrupted the state when the state tried to pay enslavers the equivalent of the value of those that they weren't enslaved as part of gradual abolition. Under that setup, enslaved people, their status really did not change. It was a change in name, but not very little in the change of their material conditions. Also, what I want to highlight is that Black people organized and rebelled against enslavers from the South coming into New Jersey to kidnap Black people who are either free or enslaved, people who demanding their freedom papers, coming in without due process, right, violating any rights that they did have. Particularly because in the state of New Jersey in 1821, the Supreme Court of New Jersey found that the assumed status of a Black person was an enslaved person. This is 36 years before the infamous Dred Scott decision, in which the Supreme Court said that Black people had no rights to which white people were bound to respect, and that Black people could not be citizens, and set the ground for the oncoming Civil War. But here, Black people organized against those white kidnappers who came in, tried to kidnap free and enslaved Black people or formerly enslaved Black people and bring them to the South. The violence of slavery did not end in 1866 with adoption of the 13th Amendment in New Jersey, and neither did white supremacy or racial inequality. It sort of transformed into Jim Crow and segregation in New Jersey, and this was supported by racial violence and terror. And so you see instances of lynching in New Jersey, One of the documented lynchings is here in this picture, Mingo Willie Jack. And this undergirded the structural forms of discrimination that sustain segregation, like racial restrictive covenants. And this is an example of that, in which deeds and homes prevented Black people from purchasing them and other non-white people who could not purchase a home to build wealth. And this has an impact on our racial wealth gap. Here you have a picture of redlining, which was instituted by the federal government and instituted by the states and other and localities. And red areas are where predominantly Black spaces in which there would be no investment. This laid the groundwork for all the kinds of inequalities of context. So when people see statistics around the racial wealth gap for individuals, the racial wealth gap for families, life expectancy for Black people, right, being lower, median household wealth, as I said before, and also the percentage of people being shot by the police. All of that comes from the history and the accumulation of history of inequality from slavery to the present. And what New Jersey has done is been very good at telling a story about itself that does not include slavery, does not include the impact of Jim Crow and segregation, but really tells itself a story of being a northern state that is exceptional. Right? And as part of the work, we have a blueprint for repair. We have over close to 100 recommendations to repair all the harms that we've identified in the report, repair that would create a process for which Black people, as I said before, can live and thrive and flourish and finally be free. Now, in terms of the work that we're doing, we are in the process of organizing, advocating, and doing the narrative change work as part of Truth and Repair. So we're telling the truth using this report to tell the truth of history in New Jersey. And as part of the repair work, we are engaging in a number of different areas, including organizing folks and in doing narrative change work. And as part of that narrative change work, we've got to identify the narrative roadblocks that are preventing people from understanding the need for reparations. As I identified earlier before, one of those is just the cash, the idea that reparations is just the cash. Another is that reparations is just that the history that's impacting our present is just too long ago, right? This idea that, oh, we can't do anything about it. It's just too long ago. That history is too far away. It doesn't have an impact on our present. The inequalities that we see don't have any kind of relation to what we see in the present moment. The other idea is that if you engage in reparations or race conscious remedies, that's reverse racism, and that really the people who are most aggrieved by racism now in our current moment are white people. And you see this from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court thinks that the main character of racism is white grievance and white people. And so you saw this in the Voting Rights Act case last week. You see this in the affirmative action case. Also, there is this narrative roadblock that we have achieved tremendous racial progress in the United States. There's no need for reparations because of look at how far we come from slavery. Look how far we come from Jim Crow, right? We've got all these programs, social safety net programs. We don't need reparations. Another key one is that there is harm everywhere. Look, there's inequality and harms everywhere. Why do we need something special just for Black people and for slavery, right? Why do we need something? Why is there something that's specific for Black people? And Dr. King himself had said that there is something that's special that needs to be done for Black people in this country to address reparations. Another, I'll leave you with just a couple of more narrative roadblocks, is this idea that around meritocracy and lifting oneself out of the bootstraps, that everyone has options, everyone has possibilities, one just has to work hard and one can overcome any kind of structural problems or issues around racism, that just one has to rely on one's talent and hard work, and one can live a life of tremendous wealth and security, and all one needs is hard work, right? This is another roadblock. And then last, I would say the idea is that universalism, right? This idea that we can have universal policies that don't have to be race targeted or specific, and they will address racial inequality. And what those all overlook is the sort of racialized nature of the policies and practices historically that have created the conditions that we are in, right? The impact of slavery in shaping the US and particularly shaping New Jersey, right? And the role and the specificity in sustaining the racial wealth gap, which is here in New Jersey, one of the largest, if not the largest. And so we must be attentive to the specificity and its impact on New Jersey. So, and one of the things that we hope your videos do is call out these narrative roadblocks and then see areas for opportunity to talk about how we can move forward using reparations to address these racial inequalities. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a sense of both the Truth and Repair campaign, right? About the significance in telling the truth, particularly when we know that simply talking about the history of racism or slavery in this country is being outlawed in some states, in some places, or is looked down upon. And talking about race and racial justice is seen as being outside of the bounds. So the significance and importance of telling the truth, and then the need for action through repair, right? Through reparative programs and policies and structural and systemic transformation. And that begins with doing organizing and advocating. And we will have more down the line for you about what you can do to support once we get these videos from you all, which we're excited about. So thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Jean-Pierre, for giving that great introduction and background on the work that the Institute is doing, and what reparations are and why they're important and needed, and why this is the perfect moment to be taking action. And that really leads into our video contest, right? Where, as JP said, the Institute and many other organizations and people around the state are currently having this conversation, right, in our communities and our schools, with our, with people that we know, and we're taking action. One of the ways we are doing that is by bringing this movement right to young people, right? Because while reparations does require us to look back at where we've come from and our history and our roots, it's not just about the past, right? It's actually about the future, right? And so, when we think about the future and what kind of world we want to live in, what kind of community we want to live in, there is no future without young people, right? Young people will inherit every single thing about our world right now and how we're setting it up. And so that's why we know your voices are so pivotal and needed in this conversation. And that's why we're really excited to launch this Truth and Repair video contest. So with that said, I'm going to invite Stephanie and Wendy Liz to break down what this contest is all about and how you can get started.
Hi, everyone. I'm super excited for you to be interested in participating for our video contest. So I'm going to go in here and share my screen. Please let me know if you can see it. Let me just make it bigger. Here we go. Let me know if it's good. So, is it good?
Yes, it looks like it may still be loading.
Yeah, it looks, I think, frozen a bit.
Okay. It says your screen is being paused. Is it working now?
You may want to stop sharing and try again.
Okay. Let me, 1 second. Okay. How about now?
Can you try changing to the next slide? So I think it's still just sharing like your browser window and not the actual slides.
Okay. So sorry, folks. Let me see. Oh, I see what is happening. I don't know why it's not loading. There we go. I just refreshed the page. Okay. How about now?
Yeah, I'm not sure why, but when you go into presentation mode, it's not working. But why don't I can try sharing mine if that's all right.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
so sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay, I see yours now. Perfect. So what is the Truth and Repair Youth Video Contest all about? So this is a time for us to hear your voice and what reparations means to you. So this is your chance to break down New Jersey's history, raise awareness about issues in your community, and use your voice to help reimagine the future. So we really just want to hear what reparations means to you and how it could help your community. This is more than just a contest. It is an opportunity for young people to shape the movement for reparations. So it is an opportunity for young people to share their voice and their authentic experiences through storytelling. And we want to hear your voice. We want you to be bold, to be authentic, and to be a part of this change. Submission guidelines. So it is open to youth ages 13 to 25, and you must be a resident, work, or attend school in New Jersey. There's proof of age and residence. It will be requested of the winners, as well as if you're below 18 years old, a parent has to sign a media release form, but that is just when the winners are announced. There will only be one video per candidate, and it could be entered during the submission window. So we just announced the contest May 1st. So the submission deadline is June 1st. So you have a month to come up with the concept, to edit, to record, and to be as creative as possible. It's due June 1st at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. The video guidelines. So the content and the topic must be about reparations in New Jersey. So again, thinking what reparations means to you, speaking about the history of slavery in New Jersey and how reparations can help your community, but also the future generations that follow. We have a couple questions and prompts as well that Wendy Liz will speak about. And we also have the prompts and the questions on our website, where you can find all of this as well. So the length of the videos must be between 1 to 2 minutes long. The file type, the video should be MP4 and MOV, which you can edit that on CapCut. You can make sure that the file type is that, as well as the format. It should be vertical and 180 times 1920 px and 9:16 ratio. Video guidelines. So we would just want you to be as creative as possible. This is something fun to do, and we're excited to hear your voices. So the videos may include spoken word, storytelling, or speaking directly into the camera. It could also include voiceovers as well, music, performances, or visual art. We want to see your art in any creative way, animation, graphics, or slides as well, and any other creative approaches that we haven't listed on here, as long as it includes what you think about reparations, we want to see you as creative as possible. Okay, so this is the part how to submit your video. So the first step is to upload your video to YouTube as an unlisted video. So to do that, you have to sign into YouTube through a Google account. And the Google account, it doesn't have to be a Gmail. You can make a Google account and it could be a Hotmail or anything like that. You just have to sign in through Google account to YouTube. After you sign in, you go on the top right and you click create and then upload video on the top right. Just keep in mind that you won't be able to upload a video unless you have an account. So just make sure you make an account. You could either make an account through another email or you can sign into your already used account. And then you upload your video. So you should have your video maybe on your desktop. You just upload it, or you could also drag it through that window. And then there's going to be a couple questions asking you as if you were going to upload it so other people can see. But this is an unlisted video. So that means that other people won't be able to see it. Only the people with the link will be able to see it. So you're just going to click next. First, you're going to click the type, you're going to fill out the title and description, and then you're going to click next, which is in red in a red circle until you reach visibility, which is on the top. After you reach visibility, that's when it's going to ask you if you want this to be a private video, an unlisted video, or a public video. And that's when you're going to select an unlisted video, where only the people who have the link will have access to it. You click on that and then just make sure you click save. After you click save, it will say video published. That means that it's been published, but again, it's private. So only whoever you send it to will be able to see it. After that, you copy the video link, which is in a red circle over here, and that will be the YouTube video link that you will share with us. The step two is to copy and paste the video into an email. So we are requesting emails as your submission, and the next slide will show what is required in the email. So you would send the email to videocontest@njisj.org. Make sure you use the subject line Youth Video Contest, and in the email body, put your full name, your age, your zip code, and your phone number. And if you would like this video to be considered for the People's Choice category, which Wendy Liz will explain later on what the People's Choice category means, but this basically means that it may be selected to be shared on social media and voted on by the public. So you would just say yes or no to that. And this is an example of the email. It has the video link, which we did it together, the name, the age, the zip code, the phone, and then People's Choice. So just an example of that. Feel free to follow the exact same format. Perfect. And then this is the contest categories and awards, and I will pass this on to Wendy Liz.
All right, sorry, y'all. All right, so for our contest categories and awards, we basically have three main categories, each named after a person who did work within reparations or activist work here in New Jersey. So we have the Cali House Video Award, and the eligibility for each of these is based on age. So the eligibility for the Cali House is open to 13 to 15-year-olds. The John Conyers Video Award is for eligibility between 16 to 18. And the Paul Robeson Video Award is open to 19 to 25-year-olds. And here we have a breakdown of the folks that we're naming the categories after. As Jean-Pierre kind of briefly mentioned, Callie House earlier, she was one of the early leaders in the struggle for reparations and civil rights in America. She co-founded the National Ex-Slave Mutual Relief Bounty, and tried to seek reparations for formerly enslaved people, kind of similar to sort of relief that was given to Civil War veterans. However, the United States government saw this organization as a threat, and so she was arrested and convicted by an all-white jury, and she served about a year in prison. John Conyers was the sixth longest serving member of Congress, and he served as a representative for Michigan from 1965 to 2017. And within his role there, he introduced the Commission to Study Reparations proposal for African Americans Act in 1989. And basically called for establishing a commission to research the history of slavery, its effects, and then recommended policies to remedy the injustice. And the bill has been kind of known as the HR 40, which alludes to the 40 acres and a mule kind of common thought of reparations. And then we have Paul Robeson, who is New Jersey's own. Paul Robeson was a person of many talents. He was a singer, actor, an activist, and also an athlete. So his activism mainly focused around anti-racist, being anti-colonial, and, fighting economic inequality. He helped shape sort of the moral and political argument for slavery, that centuries of injustice created a real and unpaid debt. And I'll kind of say overall, continue to research each of these people, and any of these people could also be maybe an inspiration for your video. On top of those three main categories, we also have two more that are open to everyone. So we have the Video of the Year award. Like I mentioned, this is open to all ages from 13 to 25. And the winner for this category will be selected by the judges as the best overall video from all the submissions. And then we also have the People's Choice Award, also open to all ages. And this winner actually will be voted on by the public and is based on who receives the most engagement across all social media platforms. And of course, there's more. We don't just want you to submit and be done with the work. We want you to be, involved and grow with this sort of activist work. So we also want to support the winners here, and all winners. So let me backtrack. First off, congratulations for submitting, period. So everyone who enters the competition will receive a digital certificate of completion. So of course, we want to acknowledge that you're taking the first step of involvement. And here I have a special guest coming with me to continue speaking about the categories. Beyond that, all winners will also be invited to participate in the public screening of the winning videos at the Institute's Black August event, and that date is to be determined.
That date will be determined.
Okay, baby. Let mommy talk, okay?
Let mommy talk, okay?
The winner will also be invited to participate in the Institute's annual Youth Power Summit in September 19th. You'll also have your work featured across all Institute platforms at events.
And I can take over, Wendy Liz. You can be invited to stay involved as youth reparations ambassadors. So you'll receive training and support to lead organizing and advocacy in your community. So we certainly want to see this as an ongoing collaboration. After your video is submitted, we really want to continue working with you to, share your voice and showcase the video work that you worked hard on. So we definitely want to continue those partnerships after.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie, for taking over for that. And I apologize, everyone. So how will the videos be judged? The videos will be judged by a panel of judges. And the strong submissions will be informative and creative. Of course, like we mentioned, we want your perspective and voice as a young person. Asada said it best. You guys are the future. And we want to emphasize this part. You don't need professional equipment or need to be an expert. We really want to hear your voice. We really want to hear your perspective. So please use the equipment and technology you have available to you. So we have 6 kind of areas of evaluation for the videos that are being judged. And here you have kind of the questions, but I'll kind of mention the area itself. So we want to make sure that the video has some relevance to the prompt. So is there some focus on reparations or a focused topic? Does it demonstrate an understanding of New Jersey's history? Is there a connection to the Truth and Repair campaign? What is your youth voice and perspective showing? So does it center your lived experience as a young person? Does it show how young people can get involved? Of course, creativity and storytelling. How creative is the video? Is it keeping us engaged? Is it kind of doing something out of the box or something out of the ordinary for us? And then lastly, there is a level of quality that we are judging on. So is the video clear? Is it free from errors and mistakes? And does it demonstrate thoughtful production and presentation? And of course, each of these areas of categories will be scored from ranging from 1 to 5. So 1 being an unsatisfactory and 5 being exceptional. So each video can either receive a maximum score of 30 or a minimum score of 6 points. And as Stephanie mentions, are you looking for inspiration? So we have, some questions here and on the website as well, where we can kind of get you generated brainstorming. So some questions that can get you started is like, what does reparations mean to you? Why do you think it's necessary to confront history and truth in order to repair the present? How would reparations impact your life or your community? What is the connection between slavery and present day racial inequities and the wealth gap? And mainly, why should young people be involved and lead the movement for reparations? Of course, we also will provide these if folks need, but some kind of other areas of inspiration that you can look for, of course, is our report that's available on our site. So we just published this report last year, as Jean-Pierre mentioned, and it has so much information that you can really choose any topic and be good. You also want to perhaps watch The Price of Silence, available on PBS, or you can listen to a podcast, The Big Payback, that also speaks about reparations. And then I don't know if we have time, Masada, but I know we also have this kind of short explainer video on reparations in New Jersey. I think you might have to share with sound.
Okay, let's try that. Give me 1 second.
Yes, we mean. Hey, New Jersey, we need to talk about reparations. Yes, we mean reparations for slavery. Slavery isn't just a Southern issue. It most definitely happened above the Mason-Dixon line. In fact, New Jersey was dubbed the slave state of the North. Our state's dependence on slavery was deep and enduring, leading directly to today. We have 2 New Jerseys, separated by some of the worst racial disparities in the country when it comes to wealth, incarceration, school segregation, and more. Let's look back. New Jersey was first colonized in 1630 by the Dutch, who brought over enslaved the Black people from Africa to present-day Jersey City and Hoboken. When the English took over, New Jersey's white colonial settlers got extra acres of land for each Black person they enslaved, a slavery incentive of sorts. Enslaved Black people were forced to labor in agriculture, mining, transportation, construction, and more. As white wealth and land ownership continued to grow on the backs of enslaved Black people, slave codes prevented enslaved and free Black people from owning land and governed almost all aspects of Black life, just like a Southern state. By 1830, over 2/3 of all Northern enslaved people lived in New Jersey. In 1866, New Jersey finally abolished slavery. It was the last Northern state to do so. Let that sink in. But New Jersey established generations of racist policies and practices that continue to benefit white people at the expense of Black people, like the cottager system, an exploitative practice that prevented Black people from building wealth or independence, and redlining by the government and banks that labeled Black neighborhoods too risky for mortgages, and deeds that banned Black people from owning homes, especially in white neighborhoods, and denying Black World War II veterans GI Bill benefits, which are credited with growing America's middle class, the white middle class, that is. These practices compounded over generations in what is called structural racism, creating policy-driven barriers to wealth building and opportunity for Black New Jerseyans while creating opportunities for their white neighbors intentionally or not. Even today, Black New Jerseyans are held back by policies and practices in education, housing, employment, the environment, the justice system, democracy, and health. So, where do we go from here? A change in attitude around race alone, while critical, is simply not enough. Because these harms were inflicted and maintained through policy, they must also be repaired by policy. Bring us back to reparations. New Jersey must acknowledge, end, and repair the harms it's caused to its Black communities by deeply investing in the very areas where there have been generations worth of systemic disinvestment. This can look like funding for reparative policies and programs and direct payments. New Jersey can and must pull together to shape our beautifully diverse state into one where everyone has the opportunity to thrive and share in our vast wealth. Through reparations, we can make the two New Jerseys one. Learn more and take action at njisj.org/say the word.
Okay, so that was the video for inspiration. Thanks so much, Wendy, Liz, and Stephanie, for that very insightful and helpful overview of the contest. We'll pause now to see if there's any questions from anybody on the call about anything that we covered.
I have one question. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you, and thanks for joining us, Reverend Pritchett. Please, what's your question?
It's simple. 19 to 25 is a category. So, as you know, I'm at Seton Hall University, so I just need feedback. I assume, obviously, at that age range, that the colleges, higher ed would be covered, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. That's audience we're going for is college age young people.
Yeah, just wanted to thought so. And then the other, this may be, I'd love to get a link to say the word. So somebody could either put that in the chat or send it directly to me. That'd be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. JP or Nason, if you have a moment to drop the link in the chat, that'd be helpful. And then we'll also include it in the follow-up email. So we'll make sure you get it.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And thank you for being here. Hopefully you'll share it with your students. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll just mention for those who may not be intimately familiar, I'll just give one sentence or on what I represent beyond having taught at universities for 60 years in Jersey. But at Seton Hall now, we have the Martin Luther King Leadership Program. And in that context, we are always going into the surrounding communities, working with young people. So this is going to be a challenge situation since we're going through final exams right now. But I'm going to be pressing, my scholars to produce. And I wish you all well. I was there when the John Pierre's, the reception that was held at NJPAC when the book was completed, the journal. So, and in our Africana Studies program, which is directed now by Dr. Stephanie Harris, James Harris. Seton Hall was the first university in the state to start a Black Studies program, and that was in 1970, just as a matter of. So we want to represent at that level of quality and so forth. Okay. That's it.
Thank you so much, Reverend Patricia. I appreciate you coming to our events for the support
Mhm.
and for the history lesson as well. So we appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. And there's definitely been some students from your campus who previously came to some of our youth events, who
Indeed.
I think are maybe part of the local NAACP chapter
That
or
is
something
correct.
else there. So, we're
Mhm.
hoping to get some submissions and some activity from them for sure, get some
Gotcha.
representation.
All right.
All right, so that's pretty much the end of our call. Like I said, we are recording this and we will be sending a follow-up email. So keep an eye out on your inbox for that. It'll include all of the links and all of the important information we mentioned, including some of the resources for information, for inspiration. And of course, the main hub for all things video contests is njsj.org/video contest. So please spread the word. We do have a flyer for this as well, one-page flyer. So we'll be including that in the follow-up email. And it'll be a really easy way for you to tell other young people or your friends, family, whoever, students it may be that are interested to get started, submit those videos by June 1st. Again, the most important thing of all that we're looking for is for the opportunity for young people to really have their voices, their views, and their desires, right, show up, heard, and given space in this moment. So again, be creative, have fun, and thank you. Hope everybody has a good night.